the costumes that we see constantly in the marketing material for the film
Mm.
have a grand total of maybe 30 seconds of screen time.
Yeah. I'm so glad we're back. Star Wars is back. There is zero filler, and this is going to tie up all loose ends, including those set up in like Mando and stuff. I was like, oh, Dave's been cooking.
He dubbed it her birthday and pushed her into that vat of ace chemicals and named her Harley Quinn. We know if Spider-Man 4 is going to be any good once we get a confirmation of who the director is. And this isn't a slight on John Watts, but if John Watts is back to direct it, that means Sony got their way, which means it's going to be another multiversal story for no fucking reason. Why are you spending $200 million on a project that realistically might cap out at 600? Hello and welcome to episode 103 of Cutscene Convos. We have got quite a busy episode this week. We've got a character profile on Harley Quinn. We have got a review of Madam Web. We've got episodes 1, 2, and 3 of the Bad Batch to get into. And I will be ranting.
Having your weekly rant.
About film studios. I was both of these were originally just going to be in the Nerd News Network, and then I saw how similar the issues themselves were. But for all that good stuff, Horizontal, how's your week been, pal?
My week has been. How's my week? Felt weird. I don't know why. Just like, don't know, something. It just felt off this week. I don't know if I've just lost like the flow of things or got like. I think last week's editing took longer, and then it was like I was rushing a bit on the Friday to get to the girlfriends. So I think that started the week off a bit of a weird place. But I had a good weekend. Nice time with the girlfriend. It was my mate's birthday as well, so he'd invited some people around and there was drinks, and we played a lot of Jackbox games that
Jackpot games are elite.
a lot of 20-year-old people that drunk put some questionable answers. Some people definitely crossing some lines. But it was good fun. And then just kind of been chilling, working on personal projects, playing around in Blender, doing some 3D stuff.
Yes, you have.
Trying to just come up with content to post. But other than that, playing Helldivers, a lot of Helldivers, grinding that for democracy and all that. They're slowly fixing the server issues.
That's been the only thing that's really stopped me from jumping in. I've seen server issues and I was like, I'm not going to get the game until I know that's sorted.
Yesterday, there was an update that I would say is like 95% of the time fixed it. So you can log in now. There's like a pseudo log.
So you can log in now.
Well, so there was the issue was it wasn't the amount of servers, it was like the game contacting the servers on the back end. So what would happen is you get stuck in. They hadn't implemented an actual server queue system because they didn't think they'd need it. Like they never thought they'd have enough players to need something like that. So when they essentially had to cap it at like 340k, and then it was like when your game hits the like retry attempt, if there's a space, you get in. If there isn't, you got to wait 30 seconds for it to retry again. So it's kind of like you just got to wait for it to line up.
So you could be first in the queue, but if you get unlucky, you could still be waiting for ages.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Which was why people were frustrated. But I would say that's pretty much done now. At most, I think I've had it retried twice and then I get in. It usually does it either straight away or on the first retry. And I've only been kicked 2 or 3 times, like game crash or kick. So it's a lot better.
They're sorting that.
Yeah, it's a lot better. And it's a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend. How's your week been?
I think very similar to yours. It's felt like a weird week. At the back end of the episode last week, the flu shit
Oh,
that was
yeah.
creeping up on me was starting to hit. And that got worse over the weekend.
Oh,
I have a really good immune system.
same.
As a general rule, no matter what's going on, paracetamol will get me through and I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
For this head cold congestion build up bullshit, I had Jenna at the shops just buying everything. I've got
This
nasal
sounds
sprays, nasal inhalers, everything
okay.
just to relieve the pressure so I could breathe. It was chaos.
This sounds like exactly what my girlfriend had that other week.
Yeah. It's doing the rounds. It is kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah.
But despite that, I was still able to get out and have a nice weekend. Saturday, me and Jenna went to Arsenal women's game at the Emirates,
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
which became the largest ever WSL game with an
Nice.
attendance of over 60,000. It was bouncing. That was a lot of fun. Sunday was when I really just felt sorry for myself for being unwell. And we went to watch Madam Web in the evening, which didn't help. Then Monday, I was starting to feel a bit better, but not quite there. And then by Tuesday, I was like, okay, cool. It's finally that all of the medications have finally kicked in and I feel human again. So I was able to record a video that went out. But yeah, as a result of that, my entire week's just shot. I woke up this morning, I was like, is it Thursday? And it feels like it might be Thursday, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting there. We are back on the road to health and routine again, which is it's crazy how like I've been on like a perfect routine since the beginning of the year. And just one weekend where I'm doing a little bit more than normal as well as getting ill, and I have no idea what's going on anymore.
Yeah, it's so easy to get knocked off that like routine that you're in.
Yeah, so right. Character profile.
Yes.
Our character profile this week is on Harley Quinn. We are now going to be 3/4 of the way through our Suicide Squad extravaganza. As with all the other DC character profiles we've done, this is a post New 52 only.
Yes.
Harleen Frances Quinzel, aka Harley Quinn, first appeared in Suicide Squad Volume 4, Number 1, November 2011. Obviously in the post 52 world.
Mm-hmm.
Harleen was born in Brooklyn, the oldest of 4 children and the only daughter. After an early boyfriend murdered someone to prove his love for Harley, she became very interested in criminal psychology. After finishing high school as an honor student and successful gymnast, Harley attended Gotham University, initially to study veterinary and biological sciences. However, once again, her interest in criminal psychology peaked and she instead changed to study psychiatry. Once switching to psychiatry, her talent in the field began to shine through and she excelled before graduating and being offered a prestigious role at a hospital. Again, however, her curiosity in criminal psychology caused her to instead offer her services to Arkham Asylum of Gotham City, famed for its criminally insane patients. Once there, she tackled the challenge of the Joker, the patient no other doctors could get close to understanding, let alone trying to help. However, Harley impressed the Joker with her calm demeanor in spite of his madness. This led to him using his connections to get the man who drunkenly killed Harley's father murdered and allow him to deliver his finger to her as a sign of power and respect. Harley and Joker's unhealthy relationship blossomed, but was soon exposed by her supervisor, Dr. Storano. When Storano tried to steal Harley's research and play it off as her own, Harley then, in kind, tried to kill Storano, but was unable to when security intervened. Instead of going quietly, however, she freed the Joker and killed a guard. The Joker used his newfound freedom to take Harley to Ace Chemicals, where he recreated the same incident that caused him He dubbed it her birthday and pushed her into that vat of ace chemicals and named her Harley Quinn. Harley was arrested and put on death row at Bellevue after going on a killing spree of people involved in Joker's most recent incarceration. While there, she had a microbomb implanted and she was unceremoniously thrown into Amanda Waller's Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. She would go on to form an attachment to Deadshot in the wake of what seemed to be Joker's death. She would become more independent and more of a team player while on the squad. When Deadshot was presumed dead on a mission, the Joker returned to rescue Harley. However, in his new vindictive way of life, he accused Harley of no longer being loyal to him and threatened to skin her to test her loyalty. Despite her pleas, she was still loyal. He freaked out and knocked her unconscious. When she awoke, Joker was nowhere to be seen, but her pet hyenas were attacking her as the Joker had infected them with rabies. This resulted in Harley having to kill her beloved pets. And that was the final straw for Harley. That finally broke the Joker's power over her, and she became the Harley Quinn that we know today. Harley's such an interesting character.
Yeah, she's definitely gone through a lot over the years.
Yes, but I mean, she was initially invented for the animated series. She didn't exist before that.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah, she was a creation for the animated series in the 90s, to kind of be the Robin to Joker's Batman.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what she was. And as a result, like, their relationship hadn't been around for long enough for people to really work out how it worked. And then through the years and like the way the world is now, everyone's like, no, the Joker is incapable of genuinely loving someone.
Yep.
So it is inherently going to be an abusive relationship.
Yep.
And as with everything in comics, eventually, especially with the popularity of Harley as a character, they were kind of like, Harley is too powerful and too beloved to allow herself to just be stuck in an abusive relationship forever.
Yeah.
And they then use that as a story to show her trying to kill the Joker and then leaving the Joker and going on to be Harley by herself.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, we're still going to get iterations where she's with the Joker for whatever reason. And sometimes it'll make complete sense. But it's very interesting to see how much Harley's achieved in the comic space in such a short amount of time. Especially when you bear in mind that she was written to be the side character to a villain.
Turned into a whole
to turn that into being loved as a character in your own right is very impressive.
I mean, that just comes down to the writers though as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Madam Web. So, I'm going to give Horry some shade here first.
Okay.
So, long ago, there was a film called Morbius. We were going to go watch that, and we both decided, you know what, the reviews are so poor, it's not worth our time. So we didn't go.
Yep.
And I've always looked at that, and I'm like, I don't regret not going. But if we're going to talk about a film going forward, it only feels right to at least give it the fair shot of actually watching it, because we will both sit here and we'll go, don't ever take one person's opinion, don't just listen to what other people say and use that to form your own opinion. Ingest the content itself and then form your opinion, because there is a chance, however slim, that we could watch Morbius and we could be we could be two of the like 5 psychopaths on planet Earth who like it.
No chance.
There is always a chance, however slim.
No.
So I went to watch Madam Web. Horry's not seen it.
No. I'm a broke boy.
What we're gonna do is, I'm gonna do a 5-ish minute review, and then I will allow you to ask any burning questions you have. based on what you've seen coming into this.
Okay.
Okay, so the famous quote from the trailer of "he worked for my mother in the Amazon shortly before she died," never said in the film. Not once.
Okay.
Never said in the film. The costumes that we see constantly in the marketing material for the film have a grand total of maybe 30 seconds of screen time, and it is only in dream sequences.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, we're not even started yet. So do you remember in the early days? And I know like we're different kind of nerds when it comes to this stuff, but you have to bear with me. You remember in the early days of the MCU, there'd be a reference to a character that the casual fan wouldn't know. And
Yeah.
you'd have all the nerds going, oh, you know what they said there? That was a reference to that person.
Yeah.
Now imagine if they did that for like a tiny little reference that's supposed to be like a if you know moment, but they decided to do that for a character like, I don't know, Peter Parker.
So like a really well-known character.
Yeah. So the rumors were correct. Cassie's ambulance partner is Ben Parker.
Okay. Yeah, right.
We go to Peter's baby shower during the film. And while there, so this is after Cassie's got her powers.
Okay.
And we sit down and we're playing a game at the baby shower called Guess the Baby Name.
Oh.
So everyone guesses the names, no one gets it. And then Cassie guesses, she gets it wrong. I can't remember what she says. And then Mary, the mother, goes, no, it's per. And as she says per, a balloon pops, causing Cassie to jump and travel back in time. So you never actually hear the name Peter Parker.
Oh, but it's just obvious that it is.
Well, yeah, you know it's Ben Parker, and you know that's his nephew getting ready to be born.
Might as well just say it.
There is... So, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but these Sony films have a real bad problem. I mean, among a multitude of
many
problems.
things.
But they have this thing where all of these writers want to use the line, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
But they refuse to use that line, and they feel they need to rewrite it themselves.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear this film's version of that?
Oh, God, go on.
When you take responsibility for the web, great power will come to you.
That's so bad. Oh, that's so bad.
Okay, are you ready for me now to get into the really bad stuff?
Web. Go on.
Are you ready for the really bad stuff? Okay. Peter Parker is a racist. Because in the Amazon, there is a secret tribe of spider people who dress up like Spider-Man.
Okay.
But that's their culture. And this is before Spider-Man's born. So if we take the context of this world, it would legitimately be like me getting the superpowers of a native community, then dressing up a bigger superhero despite having no connection to that ethnicity.
So, cultural appropriation.
Yes, massively.
Ooh.
Are you ready for one of the worst bits in my mind, but also the funniest?
Is this the spider scene by any chance?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, after Cassie's got her powers, but before she understands them,
right,
just after the baby shower gets interrupted because there's been an explosion down at the docks, and they're all paramedics and they're needed down at the docks to help.
Right.
So they all go down to the docks. When we get to the docks, it like cuts us to the docks, so we don't arrive with them.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie's outside of the burning building with a man on the floor who she's giving CPR to.
Okay.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
She's paying very little attention while doing the CPR. Then,
just what you want.
Ben, along with another paramedic, comes by with a gurney with a patient on it.
Right.
He's like, oh, he's just got a broken leg. Get him in the ambulance. Let's get him going.
Yeah.
Cassie takes a second to go, oh, have you checked this? And he then pokes him in the stomach and goes, oh, that too, good catch. Don't know how she possibly could have caught that. That makes no sense. But also, why do we need 2 paramedics for someone with a broken leg when there is a man requiring chest compressions here?
Yeah.
Oh, it gets better. She starts having a premonition about her supervisor getting in an ambulance, driving away, and getting hit by another car.
Right.
And like so, like the scene, which like this bit isn't terrible. She's giving chest compressions. It turns into her boss, and she's covered in blood.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh, I don't really know what's going on here."
Mm-hmm.
And then she snaps out of it, and she hears the boss go, "Right, I need to get going," and he goes to get in the ambulance.
Mm.
And of course, she's like, no, something's about to go wrong, a bit Final Destination style.
Yeah.
But of course, she's still giving chest compressions. So what does she do? You ready? I'm not joking. This is going to sound like the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard. I promise you, this is exactly what happened.
Oh no.
She taps the guy on the chest and just goes, "You're all good." Gets up and walks away.
Ah, I see the American healthcare system is being shown perfectly.
Do you know what the worst bit is?
Sorry, you can't afford these chest compressions anymore.
Do you want to know what the worst bit is?
What?
CPR is a running theme throughout this film.
Is it ever done correctly?
No, because at no point they talk about giving oxygen to the person you're giving chest compressions to. But like, there's a bit later on when she teaches the girls how to give CPR, and they like talk about really niche things, like, oh, you need to go 2 inches down on the sternum, like legitimately useful tips.
Mm.
But she's outside giving compressions after an explosion's gone on to this man. And I shit you not, she just stops, slaps him on the chest, his eyes open, she goes, "You're all good, buddy," and she walks off.
That makes no sense. Why?
I like to think I'm someone who's very good at just getting sucked into a film despite any weirdness. I literally almost looked around the cinema to go, is anyone else seeing this? But the absolute worst part about the film.
Okay, it gets worse.
Ezekiel Sims.
Mm.
The entire film. ADR. It's all of his voice lines are done in post.
What?
And it is obvious.
Is that because they've changed all his lines?
I can tell you, there are times when his mouth isn't even moving and he's talking.
That means they've completely changed his lines.
They sometimes don't sync up right. But you know how like ADR is used mostly in sitcoms when you'll notice it.
Yeah.
And the reason you can always tell is because the environment that voice is in doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But you normally don't notice ADR in films because they have such big budgets. They make sure that you don't notice it. And ADR gets used in films a lot, but you just don't notice it because they do such a good job.
Yeah.
This is the worst ADR I've ever seen in my entire life, including TV shows. It was so noticeable.
Oh dear.
To the point where, Jenna has watched a lot of content with me, but she doesn't watch it the same way I do.
Mm.
Even she went, "This ADR is terrible." Or she didn't even say ADR because she didn't know what ADR was. She was like, "This voiceover is terrible."
Yeah. Oh dear.
Would you like to know what part of the story is the most well explained?
Most well explained? Is it the web,
Yes.
like, verse or whatever? Oh.
No. This part of the film is really, really well explained, and I have no idea why. Okay, so the overarching plot is Ezekiel Sims killed Cassie Webb's mother.
Okay.
To take the rare spider for himself and get all the powers.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He then comes back to New York and clearly makes a fuck ton of money doing something in the 30 years between stealing the spider and now.
Okay.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And he's having a recurring nightmare where he is killed by our future Spider Women.
Right.
That is where we see the suits.
Okay.
That is it. So he's having a freak out and he's trying to hunt down these women to kill them before they get their powers.
Right.
Are you now ready for the best explanation of the entire film?
Okay.
He goes to the opera. He seduces a woman. He brings a woman back to his flat, has sex with her,
Okay.
then steals her phone and kills her because she's an NSA agent. And what were the NSA famously doing in 2003? Surveilling everyone secretly. And he uses the access that she has to that technology to track the girls throughout the entire film.
What a random fucking thing to latch onto, and like.
Do you know what I mean? Yes, the NSA did famously
Yeah.
surveil all of America post 9/11. But to make that the one bit that you go to extreme lengths to like put across, instead of just going, here is tech wizard, they hacked everything. They're like, no, he's going to kill an NSA agent, and then still have a guy in a chair. Oh, sorry, a girl in a chair. Who monitors everything for him. It's like such a weird thing to decide to actually.
So I guess that dates when the film is meant to be set.
They did say it was 2003. Like there is a bit where it pops up and says 2003. More nitpicky stuff.
Okay.
So he has a suit that we see in the trailer. The suit makes no sense.
Right.
So you'd think the suit is used for when he's going to commit crimes or whatever, so he doesn't get spotted.
Yeah.
Cool. Except he doesn't always wear the suit when he's doing stuff he shouldn't do.
Okay.
So the first time that Cassie realizes he's going to be a danger is she sat on a train. She gets a premonition of him walking down the train and killing the girls.
Right.
In that premonition, he's in his street clothes.
Right.
His like actual suit, not super suit.
Yeah.
Then she gets them off that train using her premonition and gets them on a different train.
Mm-hmm.
In that time, he decides to change into his super suit.
Why now?
So that he can hunt them down. They manage to escape, blah, blah, blah. There's then a scene later on in the diner.
Yep.
In the diner, he arrives in his super suit.
Okay.
He kills them successfully. Then Cassie uses her powers, or I don't know if it was a premonition the first time, because her powers aren't particularly well explained.
Nice.
She tries again, and I won't get sidetracked yet, but we will come back to this scene. She rams him with the taxi they stole earlier, and they escape.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
Then, before the police arrive, but after all of the people have cleared out, he's on the phone with his girl in the chair, but he's back in his street clothes while still at the scene of the crime. I genuinely would find it very easy to believe they shot this entire film without the suit, then reshot some scenes with the suit, and just cut them. Because at that point, I'm starting to think, okay, it's the suit nanotech. But no, we see him physically take the mask off at the end of the film.
I was going to start saying,
which
is
makes
the
it even less
suit
sense.
A weird visions thing that's happening, but
anyway, going back to the diner. So after escaping New York,
right,
Cassie drops them off in the woods while she goes to like try and get some information because they'll be safe in the woods. Whether that's stupid or not is irrelevant. But she drops them off in the woods.
Okay.
After being left there for a few hours, they're like, "Hey, we saw a diner when she dropped us off here. Do you want to go walk to it? Because I'm starving."
Right.
It's the middle of the day when they say this. They then walk to the diner, and it is dark when they get there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're there partying, eating, whatever. Cassie comes back when it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
She sees they've gone.
Mm-hmm.
She walks to the diner.
So
She
I
like
presume it's daytime when she arrives.
she spots their tracks and follows their tracks.
Ah.
When she gets there, she's there before Ezekiel Sims. She goes in to try and get the girls to come down, and he arrives while they're having that conversation.
Okay.
Then, like, if that's the premonition or that's afterwards or whatever, I don't know how her power works. But she's trying again. She's back at the campsite.
Right.
She gets in the car this time instead to drive there.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes her longer. Ezekiel Sims is already inside and about to start killing the girls when she, with the car, rams through the front of the diner and hits him. It's just
That's
constant
not how
hits and misses
travel
like that.
works.
So then after that, she takes them to a motel. She teaches them CPR.
So chest compressions and slap him on the face and
yeah.
you're good. Cool.
Then she's like, right, I'm going to Peru.
As you do.
Because that's where my mother died.
Ah.
And I need to know how he knows my mother. So she leaves the girls with Ben Parker, who takes them back to Mary's house, while she goes to Peru for 3 days.
Okay.
In that 3 days, nothing happens in America. But when Cassie's then coming back, Mary goes into labor.
Right.
And they get in the car. And as they get in the car and start driving to the hospital, a camera picks up their face and he's back on them.
Have they not been out in the 3 days?
I've only realised while discussing this how little her powers make sense, because that was like such a non-point to me. I don't know if her powers are supposed to be she can see all the timelines or she can travel through time or what. Her powers are a mess. One thing that really makes zero sense to me and did straight away.
Okay.
Her mother died giving birth to her.
Right.
Hidden within the walls of the secret spider community in the Peruvian Amazon.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Sims was the one who shot her mother. So there was no one there who knew that she was being born.
Right.
So, please pray tell, bearing in mind this secret society of people is thought to be a myth, how she got back to America and had a suitcase full of her mother's old research and photographs from that trip in Peru.
So this is Sony exec who just hands it to her.
It gets better. After the incident on the trains, she is listed as having kidnapped the 3 girls.
Right.
In New York. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck does she fly out of and back into America while currently wanted for the kidnapping of 3 teenage girls?
It's a good question.
Bearing in mind, they've already established in this that the NSA is tracking every American. And how, pray tell, does Ezekiel Sims, who has the power of the NSA surveillance network in 2003, not know that she has left the country?
I wonder if these Sony execs have some like first-hand experience of like flying to hidden locations.
So yeah, it's not.
It sounds exactly like what I've heard.
Would you like to know some of the funny things though?
Okay.
So, when she falls into the water and drowns before being saved, which is what like triggers her powers.
Right.
You see a giant neon S in the water.
Ooh.
Later on in the final battle, they are back at the storage facility that blew up earlier in the film.
And it's the same neon S.
She notices that one of the letters on the board is loose, is the neon S. So then Ezekiel Sims falls off, and a letter falls to crush him.
Okay.
It wasn't the neon S.
Oh.
It was the P.
For Piderman.
I just...
Puderman.
So then she basically is dead because her and Sims have basically like killed each other as they're
Right.
falling. The girls pull her out of the water and they give her CPR to bring her back to life.
Pump, 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 slap.
So like CPR is a recurring theme throughout this film.
Yeah, do you not know it's Spider-Man's power?
But
CPR.
It's just done wrong.
That's so weird.
We got a second variation of
Oh.
great power comes great responsibility, fuck up.
Oh no.
So while she's in the hospital getting treated after the big fight, obviously Mary's just given birth.
Mm-hmm.
One of the girls comes back in and goes, "Oh, Mary's just given birth." Ben's really excited. He says because he's an uncle, he gets to have all of the fun and none of the responsibility.
Why?
Oh,
and also just the drop of calling him Uncle Ben.
Yeah. There's also a little tease that he started dating Aunt May.
Right.
But she doesn't get named either.
I wonder if they're not allowed.
I felt like I was on an acid trip.
The things that I'd seen, and a few, like, I saw TikToks of people that had like their before and after reactions.
Yeah.
The best one I saw was like some guy with his friends. He's like going in. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not expecting this to be very good. Like what we've heard, it's very questionable. But I'm gonna go in open." He comes out just laughing hysterically, and he's just like, and they're like, "What? Why are you still laughing?" And he's just like, "Because I just didn't know what they were gonna do weird next. Like it just made no sense, and it got funny to the point where like I couldn't even predict the weird shit they were gonna throw at us."
Horry. They take him back to this warehouse.
Okay.
Because it's a condemned building full of fireworks that could accidentally explode. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, out of the ambulance they have stolen, they grab a supply bag that has road flares in it. That makes sense. It makes sense to me an ambulance might have road flares. That makes sense.
I suppose.
Do you want to know what doesn't make sense?
Throwing them into the box of fireworks?
Oh no, that's exactly what they did. Do you know what doesn't make sense? Them going, "Oh, he's going to be here in a minute. We need to slow him down," and pulling a fucking smoke grenade out of the bag of supplies.
Okay. And also, how does a smoke grenade slow someone down? I mean, hey, Connor, this is America. They have the right to bear arms and clearly smoke grenades. It sounds exactly what I expected, which is a complete mess that just doesn't make sense.
Do you know what the worst bit is? I don't think any of the casting was bad. As far as I'm concerned, the actors get no stick.
I've just realised something.
Go on.
So you know I was saying about Thingy Sweeney, and she wanted to make sure she got the upside down thing.
Yeah.
Is that actually in the film?
Yes, it is.
Is it in that 30 seconds?
Yes. 30 seconds might sound like I'm being hyperbolic. I think someone timed it at like 36 seconds of screen time with them in their suits. You don't actually see Cassandra Webb in her suit at all.
Oh.
So right at the very end, you get like a little shot into the future of them three suited up again, and you see like a ghosty version of her in her suit behind them. But because of the nature of the effect, you can't really see the suit.
Oh. I think, like you say, the cast isn't bad. And then going off what we've seen them talking about it, like they all actually like somewhat cared about the source material. At least some of them did. Which makes this suck even more that they would care that much, and then it's like not even they're not even given the opportunity to like do it properly.
So this brings me on to my last point. The drama that has happened in the last week or so around this film. Because as it turns out, the script that everyone signed up for isn't the film they ended up making.
Yeah.
The initial script had the three girls and Cassie protecting a pregnant Mary Parker to make sure Spider-Man was still born.
Which sounds good.
I can see that film working.
Yeah.
I think once I've calmed down at some of the stupidity, it
I
definitely
don't know.
is a so bad it's good film.
See, that's what like I've seen people say that like it's just so terrible, it's laughable.
Oh, it is laughable.
Which is like
laughable.
the only way that you could maybe watch this.
I think the only thing that hurts rewatchability as a shit film for me is the ADR. Like
I can imagine that.
I've moaned about ADR before. You know my feelings about it. I want them to use it as sparingly as possible. I get that sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
There is no excuse for a film with this bigger budget to have ADR that piss poor.
Yeah, I wonder if it's something they can fix before it's digitally released, but
do you know what I said to Jenna as we were leaving as like the only reason it makes sense for there to be so much ADR for the character?
Because they changed the script.
Because the actor, and I'm not saying this is what happened, this is not an actual accusation, this is just the only thing that makes sense in my head, is that he's turned up and done the most racist, over-the-top accent you've ever heard. And it's only once they've finished filming they've realised how racist and bad it is, and they're like, oh no, we can't release this. So they've got him back in to re-record. That is like the only thing in my head that makes sense. I'm telling you, not a single line of dialogue that he recorded on set is used in this film.
What? I was going to say, if the script's clearly been changed, maybe they changed the script's premise, but hadn't really changed his lines. And then as they've gone into editing, like, hang on, his lines just don't make sense anymore in this context.
I have never been so bamboozled in my entire life.
Hey, the Sony Spider-Verse is an interesting place.
Do you know what the worst bit is? Because casuals do not understand that the Sony films have nothing to do with Marvel and Disney, you could very easily convince me that this was Sony trying to damage the Marvel brand.
Yeah, no, I genuinely
very easily.
I genuinely believe that Morbius, Craven, and this are like their attempt at fucking with the Marvel MCU in the hopes that then people start questioning the Spider-Man films and say, oh, this Spider-Verse now is getting weird. Can we just stop, in the hopes that it then all comes back to them?
It's chaos.
It just baffles me that a company that is, let's be honest, also very clearly driven by money,
that like Sony cares about,
they can't get past this weird like ego, even though the MCU is making them a fuck ton of money through Spider-Man films, that they can't just like stop fucking with this Spider-Man stuff.
I know I've jokingly said I think I could do an okay job in the creatives industry. You give me the access to the Spider-Man IP Sony has, I promise you I never release a film as bad as Madam Web.
No, I don't think that's hard. I reckon a fucking
promise.
film student in college could produce something better.
It's
really bad. Do you know who could produce something better? That 16-year-old kid that makes the Lego Spider-Man stuff.
At least they would be visually coherent.
Yeah, true.
Right, let's go on to some good content though, because last week's episode was really nice and positive.
It was.
And I'm just so.
Hey, we've started with a laugh.
Yeah. Hey, if you've got 2 hours and you just want to laugh at the stupidity,
some spare money.
Just it's like there's worse ways to spend 2 hours.
Yeah. You could go see him Fast and Furious or.
The Bad Batch episodes 1, 2, and 3 of season 3.
Yeah. I'm so glad we're back. Star Wars is back.
There's a word normally associated with the top of a mountain. Peak.
Oh yes.
Peak. Yes, peak. Peak. And I knew it was going to be peak the minute I found out Omega had given a name to one of the hounds.
Yeah.
Once she went to feed the hound and she went, Batcher, come here, I was like, oh, we're gonna cook.
I mean, from before the series came out and there was like those early reviews coming out, and I saw some that were just like, there is zero filler, and this is going to tie up all loose ends, including those set up in like Mando and stuff. I was like, oh, Dave's been cooking.
I mean, we kind of knew at the end of last season that they were going to deal with some.
We've seen what's coming.
Palpatine returned.
We've seen what's coming. We know what Dave's been up to. But yeah,
we're not going to talk about these episodes in order particularly. We're going to jump around a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
I have bad news.
Oh.
I think Omega dies.
Okay. I also have a bad feeling, and it wasn't about Omega.
Okay.
I have a bad feeling about the island.
I have a bad feeling about everything.
Also, that is Star Wars.
But
yeah, no, I can see there's going to be a.
Because I mean, unless I'm being a dumbass here, and maybe I am. The end of episode 3 confirms that Omega has what is necessary to carry midichlorians.
The M gene, as they called it, but we all know what that means.
From one clone to another.
Yeah, it means it. She's got whatever's in her gene setup allows it to not degrade, and potentially could even increase.
Yeah. So. Obviously, she doesn't have any midichlorians, though, which is fine. That's what they then go and get Grogu for.
Yes.
And if they're going after Grogu, that must mean they already have a way to transfer M count reliably. Which must mean they either find Omega at the end of this show, or they find a way around it without Omega. Unless I'm just smoking the biggest pack ever.
It's either, like you say, they need Omega and Grogu, or Grogu's like the second attempt.
Oh, so they don't get Omega, so they just need Grogu. Okay.
Or they find a limitation with Omegas. But I think you might be more right, because I think there's maybe a possibility that Grogu's there as a way to try and increase.
Yeah.
Midichlorian.
We know that species that Grogu is very force sensitive naturally.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that when you're trying to build a perfect body clone for the Emperor, you get from Omega the ability for midichlorians to transfer, and then you just find the creature with the highest midi count you can, i.e. Grogu.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's a very high possibility that something's going to happen to Omega. There's my bad feeling about the island, because obviously they mention the island for the young clone lads that they find.
Uh-huh.
We know from Rebels, we know there's only Rex. I forget the three of them now. On that, not Rex. The three clones that are left on that random planet in the Walker.
Yeah.
They're the last three, as far as they know.
Yeah. And that was no, one of them was Rex.
Yeah, it was.
It
I
was
was right.
Rex,
Wolf,
and someone else, I forget who.
Yeah. But like the fact that they know they're the last, if they knew the island was still about,
Rex, Wolf, and Gregor.
Gregor, that's it.
And Gregor's the one who'd lost his memory during the Clone Wars and ended up on a random planet.
The fact that there's like they know they're the last also shows that the island. I think the island gets found out.
Either that, or it does just stay there completely untouched for
maybe
ever up until now.
Potentially, but
yeah, no, I've got a feeling like what you should have while you're watching Rogue One, but you forget about.
Do you know,
and I've just been burned too many times, and I'm not going to forget that at this time and assume everyone's going to live happily ever after.
It could be that they like recapture Omega, get more of her blood, but then she escapes again and essentially kills herself to stop them doing what they're trying to do. And then that means they only have a limited amount.
That would make sense.
I really liked how we knew there was some time jumping coming from the trailer. We knew we saw Omega older. I like that they did it pretty early. And I also like the way they did it by like they really focused on the repetitiveness of the daily routine and making sure like, and then the real focus on the vials clicking, and that like constant focus of that then is like, oh shit, we've jumped how many fucking days? Like a month, 2 months.
It is very, very rare you see an animated TV show with this level of cinematographic direction behind it.
Oh yeah, because like those vials, the repetitiveness, and then like as we start to figure out like, oh, they keep failing, she keeps destroying Omega, there's gonna be some point where they find out Omega's works. And then it's like as soon as her vial gets put in and it goes, obviously it's in the last slot, that tension build-up of it like clicking round was so well done.
It's symbolism at its finest. Like you said, the repetitive nature of Omega's day-to-day life and seeing how that changes, or doesn't change rather, but how she changes, but not everything else stays the same. Is very, very interesting.
We also got more creatures that the Empire created.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what those like weird vine little jumpy things gave me? What vibes they gave me?
Go on.
The Flood from Halo.
Oh yeah.
Which then I'm like, Star Wars zombies.
Honestly, I've got a feeling they want to do it really badly.
There's got to be like, if there's not some point when they're trying to find out where this lab is, that they stumble across just like some project name that is Project Blackwing or whatever, that is like finally a hardcore reference to the zombies, I'll be sad.
Do you know what I do want to know though?
Go on.
And like, it's not an issue in the slightest. It might sound like a nitpick. It's not. So they call it Project Necromancer. What does that mean in the Star Wars universe? Because I get that the language is the same, but necromancer is like a really specific word. Like I would have, I don't know. I'd have liked them to like, who is it? It's did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Why can't it be Project Plagueis?
I know what you mean. I wonder.
Necromancer just feels like they're trying to jump up and down, going, "Look, it's how Palpatine returned." Necromancer didn't really die. Whereas Project Plagueis, it feels like you just have to be a bit more switched on to get it.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense in the world, especially when we know Palpatine has referenced that he got this idea from the tragedy of Darth Plagueis.
That's a good
It's
point.
almost like, surely he would call it, unless, I don't know. Because if Necromancer still means what it means, people should be able to work out based on the project name what that is. So it's
Yeah.
not like it's protecting the secrecy of it.
I get what you mean. I do also think Rex is going to show up at some point.
Absolutely. As is Cody.
Which leads me more so to believe that this isn't the final season of animated Star Wars, and we're essentially going to go from Bad Batch into Rex's shenanigans and fill the gap. I think we might get a couple of seasons. This is like a wish. It probably won't happen. Maybe not. Maybe Dave will go, right, I've tied everything up, I'm done.
It depends if we get an idea of how much time they've jumped.
True. I mean, it's just like, if there's a little bit of like his shenanigans up to him ending up on that planet.
Yeah.
And it fills that little gap there.
It definitely feels like they are trying to wrap up this era of Star Wars, though, to move on.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason I'm like, maybe they don't have time for another season of anything.
I liked how Crosshair like came round to the plan, and then he's like, "Did they teach you Plan 70?" And then Omega's like, "Yeah, Tech made me learn him. Of course he did." Tech.
I miss Tech.
Um,
I'm stuck in two places with Tech. Obviously, I want Tech to be alive because, God, I love Tech. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, but if he's not dead, it ruins the emotional impact of seeing him die.
If Tech was alive, he would have been at that facility.
True. And
So
maybe he was, and maybe he was hidden. Franken Tech.
I think what we're going to end up with now, there's obviously got to be some way that the Omega and Crosshair meet up with the other two.
Yeah.
I think maybe Rex helps with that situation somehow. But they're obviously going to get hunted. Now they know they need Omega.
And as the Emperor said, it's promising work they're doing, and it's really important to which means they do have all the resources.
Oh, the fucking vault. As soon as he mentioned the vault, I was like, oh, there you go. That's it. Like, whether they're not showing us them yet, but like, Dave's basically gone, look, I'm fucking answering the question. Here it is, finally plain as day. Like, there's a vault of clones for the Emperor, and it's about the future of the Empire. Do you want me to spell out what I'm doing?
It's exactly that. He is going to answer the question of how Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
And he's doing it the right way as well, because if he explains it to us too quickly and too easily,
people will call it a cop-out.
People will call it a cop-out. We'll also be like, well, how did the rebels never find out?
Yeah.
But by doing it this way, like the level of secrecy and the idea that this is all going on and no one knows, and basically everyone who does know anything is going to end up dead.
Yeah. And they keep like blowing up old facilities and
all of a sudden it's like, okay, I see how they could have hidden this.
Yep. Oh yeah, like Dave, I said it like, I think it was back in I think it was back in Bad Batch season 1 when there was little hints, and I was like, I know what Dave's doing. Dave's like, he heard that line and has taken it upon himself to completely fix that, and he's been like weaving it for many, many moons across multiple different storylines. No, like, because he knows that if he just did like just in the animated, it'd get missed by some people that won't watch it. He'll also weaving it across a huge span of time, like, makes it more believable as well.
Yeah, because this science takes time. It's not a perfect science. You're trying to make clones. Yeah, that's easy enough. but you're trying to make clones that are also going to keep the Jedi ability, or sorry, the
Midichlorians.
Force abilities. And you don't want a weaker body, so we need to work out how to keep your exact midichlorian count, or even a more powerful one. And that's before then you even get onto the idea of how do you clone across the knowledge the person already has and stuff. Techie. I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to more episodes of this.
So,
but there is definitely going to be some sad moments to come.
Yeah. I worry for the Bad Batch squad.
But to quote Rosa Diaz, or paraphrase, this is Batcher. I've only had him for a day. If anything happened, I would kill all of you and then myself.
I knew as soon as like it was attacked, I was like, they're gonna have a dog.
Yeah. That's Clone Force 99's dog right there. Fucking Batcher. What a name. I love him. Cute little boy.
What
I
if?
was big in hell.
Yeah. Who is the least likely to want to deal with that dog?
Probably Crosshair.
And how sad would it be if everyone else is gone and it's just Crosshair left and he has to take care of that dog?
It would be very Star Wars for Crosshair to be the only surviving member.
And end up with Omega's pet.
Do you know what I would like to see Star Wars do as like an additional animated series if they have a bit of time before moving on from this era?
Okay.
An anthology of all of the characters that survived, like the end of the overarching story. And it's just like a 10-minute episode that just covers any major events that happen to them between the end of like the Bad Batch, say Crosshair survives. So like, this is what Crosshair did from the end of the Bad Batch until the Empire was defeated. And like you get a really cool clip at the end of that of like Crosshair up on a mountain on Endor shooting clones, stormtroopers with the Ewoks. And it's like, oh my god, he was there.
He was there.
Liberate them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That would be
like
cool.
we know Old Man Rex is designed after that one guy from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And that's like a canon reason. It's like, yes, Rex was there. He was there on the Battle of Endor. He helped free everyone. So I'd like that kind of a series. It's like, okay, this is the character that like you're never going to see properly again. This is what happened for like the rest of their life.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Right. Now that we've had a brief stop for happiness.
Back to ranting.
And Sony are getting both barrels. So, Spider-Man 4. Starring Tom Holland. Kevin Feige, Tom Holland, Marvel and Disney want a new director, i.e. not John Watts.
Okay.
They want it to be a more grounded story with slightly more mature themes, not adult themes, but mature themes.
Yeah.
With a slightly more mature Spider-Man fighting Kingpin in New York.
Sounds good.
Sony want John Watts to come back, and it sounds like they're stomping their feet, pissing their pants, going, no, do No Way Home again. That was awesome.
That made money.
Forgetting that Spider-Man will make money no matter what, as long as they stop harming the brand by releasing crap. So right now, we know if Spider-Man 4 is going to be any good once we get a confirmation of who the director is. And this isn't a slight on John Watts, but if John Watts is back to direct it, that means Sony got their way, which means it's going to be another multiversal story for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
And this comes back to the segment I said I'm going to be writing at some point, and I keep on forgetting. Spider-Man inherently should be one of the most ground level characters you've got. And he is the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
That's the thing. And like, if you think where Spider-Man 3 ended, like they've set it up now perfectly to begin that of him coming and learning just to focus on being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Do you know what the most cooked thing is?
Boom.
Okay. As far as I understand, and I may be slightly wrong here,
Mm-hmm.
Disney and Marvel get the money for action figures.
Right, yeah, merch and
Okay.
stuff, yeah.
Which is why Spider-Man has gone through so many costumes in the first 3 films.
Yeah.
Disney were going to just leave him for Spider-Man 4 in the suit he finished No Way Home with because it made sense. They're like, no, that's his suit now. He is
Yeah.
Spider-Man. He doesn't have Sugar Daddy Tony Stark. He doesn't have loads of resources. He is broke.
No one
That is his
remembers
spider
him.
suit. Yeah, that is his spider suit. He doesn't get to have 3 dozen more.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the amount of money they were going to lose on not being able to make even more toys just for it to make sense. And Sony are like, no, bring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back and do a trilogy of multiverse. I am sick of it.
Already can tell you what Sony probably want. They probably want Tom Holland to travel to their worlds and do something.
It's exactly what they want, because they're fucking idiots.
I really hope, for the sake of the MCU, knowing that, like, they're trying to correct course at the moment, they're trying to shift things. So they're essentially trying to right the ship because it was going in a bit of a wayward direction. And then it's like they're there righting the ship, and then Sony's come along and gone, wait, but over there is Tony Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Why are you turning away from it? And they're like, because the fans are over here.
Do you know what we need? We need the Spider-Man equivalent of Matt Shakeman. I need someone who is going to understand Spider-Man and bring that Spider-Man swag to the big screen. I think, if we're being honest, Spider-Man should be a Daredevil Born Again type character.
Yeah.
I accept that Spider-Man is too big a brand to just be TV shows. You're not paying all that money for Tom Holland for a TV show.
No.
I accept that whether I like it or not. That's why we get a million animated Spider-Man TV shows, because that's the only way we can get Spider-Man on TV. But
they can do, like you say, like, the fact that Disney wants to do it him versus Kingpin, and there's the potential there for them to bring Daredevil in, because we know he's dealing with Kingpin. If they really wanted to, they could throw Echo in for a brief moment. She can have a cameo. Like, they can make use of these other characters they've been setting up.
Yeah, but
and do a full film.
That's not 3 Spider-Men. The fans loved 3 Spider-Men.
Do you know what I think might end up having to happen to make Sony compromise? I wonder if they let Venom properly join.
I think Marvel would happily have all of them characters in the MCU as long as they had creative control.
Well, yeah, this is where I think they might have to be like, we will accept that your Venom films happened, and that your Venom symbiote is now in our world, and we will make use of that.
But that vegan-ass Craven the Bounty Hunter can do one. Not Craven the Bounty Hunter. Craven the Hunter can do one. I just... And then, as if it couldn't get any worse. Yeah. Corey, what film have I been banging on that I want for the last 2 years?
Fast and Furious 12.
Exactly. And what was my second choice?
That would be Batman Beyond.
Yeah. I want a Batman Beyond project. I fucking love Batman Beyond.
We have. And we've thought there's been like the odd rumor here and there that, oh, maybe there's an animated, maybe there's this, they're going to make one.
So imagine my hype when I see that people who've worked on Across the Spider-Verse are pitching to Warner Bros. A Batman Beyond style project in the art style of Across the Spider-Verse.
And in classic creative passion, they're like, hey, Warner Bros., what if, like, funny idea, but we've had great success over here with Spider-Man. We're fans of the Batman Beyond story. Like, do you want to let us do it? Nope. Oh, okay.
Would you like hundreds of millions of dollars
It's like, and Warner Bros. Like, no, we don't care, not happening. You can stay over there at Marvel, do your thing. To which the creative people are like, we really want to make this. What if we just kind of like work on this on the weekends a little bit and just like see what it would look like? Huh, this looks kind of cool. Hey, Warner Brothers, are you really sure you don't want this? Look, we even made you a proof of concept. And Warner Brothers like, okay, maybe we'll say maybe. We can agree it looks cool.
It's in the tweet with some of the concept art. The
Mm,
one where he's flying through the street.
yes.
You could have shown me that image alone, and I would have greenlit it. I don't need to see a script. I don't need to know who you want to cast as the voice actors. You show me that individual bit of artwork, and I'd write you a check for $100 million.
Mate, like the shot of him on top of the building, and you've got like the neon signs of like Ace
Yeah.
Chemical and all these other
Neo
things.
Gotham is a fucking
Yes.
awesome cityscape. Like,
The
I
idea
don't know how
of like,
Warner Bros. Weren't kicking down the door begging artists to do this. Why are artists having to try and sell Warner Bros. On this?
it's wild because it's like, let's be honest, we all love Gotham and Batman, but a big difficulty with Gotham to make it somewhat more interesting than another Batman is like Gotham is very dark, dingy. It's the vibe, but it's like cool. Another hard to watch Batman film because everything's so dark. The idea of doing like a neon Gotham to bring like as an excuse to bring some color in is such a cool
Why
idea.
Batman Beyond in the 90s looked so fucking lit because it nailed that concept of Neo Gotham. And like I didn't before I'd even seen the picture, I saw this tweet, I was visualizing it, I was like, yes, that is peak. Why is it why can I not already watch this? Why does it not already exist? Now, I'm not going to give WBD too much shit because it sounds like it went from a hard no before they even pitched to a maybe, and they've been pitching their way up. What I need is I need them to be able to show this to James Gunn because James Gunn is a creative. There is no way he doesn't greenlight this.
There's two people that this needs to get in front of that for the best chance. Like you say, either James Gunn comes across it, eventually, like he looks away from his time at Superman. He's like, "Oh, what's this stack of projects on my desk?" Ooh, or the only other person that we know that has some weight with Batman over there, Matt Reeves.
Yeah. I don't understand how you're not greenlighting this. Just look at this art. Legacy characters have never been more beloved than they are right now. People are okay with legacy characters at the minute, which was something I was always worried about. Legacy characters are difficult to pull off. But you look at this art style, the complete blackout suit with almost no details apart from the neon red bat symbol. The bright I need this film. And I know
great.
like to me, as someone who's been sat here going, I'd love a Batman Beyond project, like, that'd be really cool. This is like my birthday with how good this looks. But surely it doesn't take genius to go. Batman is a very strong brand. Across the Spider-Verse are some of the most critically and commercially successful comic book movies of the last few years.
Yep.
Surely, unless the budget that they're asking for is like 150 million, surely this is like as safe as an investment as it gets at the minute.
I mean, the only thing I can think is this doesn't even make sense. I was gonna say because like James Gunn wants to set up his characters, that doesn't want competing stuff. But then you've got fucking Matt Reeves doing his thing. So like, I wonder if they're smart. I was gonna say, do you get once they have their Batman? You know how he said he wanted the same voice actors to do TV and all that.
Yeah.
Then James Gunn goes, okay, we'll do it now. We know who Batman is.
But this is a different Batman.
Oh,
Batman
true.
Beyond's Terry McGinn.
It is. I'm forgetting.
It doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. That doesn't even.
This can be completely standalone. I You remember when they leaked the test footage for Deadpool to get community support?
I think this is them doing the same thing.
I would be amazed if that isn't what happens here. So just to put this in perspective, the 2 Spider-Verse films we've currently got had a combined budget of about 240 million. Across the Spider-Verse made 690 million. Spider-Verse box office. Into the Spider-Verse made 400 million. So on an investment of like at the top end 240, they made $1 billion. If they can do this for less than 100 million, I think it's as safe as bet as you get at the minute.
I'm trying to remember correctly here, but I'm pretty sure. Didn't Matt Reeves get some like first pass deal on Elseworlds stuff or something?
Maybe.
He got some agreement, didn't he, for like creative stuff on DC. I think he's our best bet. And it's like, if they bring Matt Reeves on as like writer / joint director to help tell a good story, and he'll stay true to the Batman content, and it's like he can get it in under Elseworlds, then. But I think you're right. Like with the Deadpool thing, this is sort of the director's being like, okay, you're only going to give us a maybe. We'll show you that the fans are going to fucking want this like rabid dogs by just posting a couple of concept arts.
Do you know what I mean? It's ripe for the picking. Neo Gotham might be one of the most enticing locations for an animated film you could possibly sell to me.
Yep.
Like, greenlight it. Greenlight it now. Greenlight it yesterday. I don't understand how it's a question. I know the film market is scary at the minute. That, to me, is about as safe as bet as anything else you can greenlight at the minute.
Oh, it could be so good.
I don't understand. Honestly, at this point, people could bring the most boring thing ever to me, and if it's in that kind of art style, I'm gonna go, yeah, fuck it. It'll probably work. Like,
there's definitely.
I'm sick of it.
Why do I feel like that studio, those directors are going to become like the powerhouse? They're going to become like the next Pixar and stuff.
Honestly. Should we go to some Nerd News Network?
Yes, some of the weekly news.
It's a small but boisterous list this week. So we're going to start off with something I left off your list because I forgot about.
Oh.
On March 1st, Morbius is coming to Disney Plus.
Sorry, who?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Apparently,
wait. Is that
apparently Morbius is better than Madam Web.
Wait, if that's coming to Disney Plus, are they going to put it in the MCU timeline?
If they do, I'm suing. I don't know who, but someone. Right. Borderlands trailer.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I have. I haven't actually properly played the Borderlands games.
Never.
No.
So, are you ready for my experience with Borderlands?
Go on.
I booked a week off work before the pandemic because I needed a break. I then got bored and downloaded for free Borderlands 2 and played some of it and really liked it. As Borderlands 3 came out.
Right.
And I was like, well, this is newer, shinier, AAA era. So I'm going to buy that now that I know I like the concept. And in my week off, bearing in mind that this was already a day and a half later, before I started work the next week, I had 120 hours in Borderlands 3. I shit you not, for that entire week, it was get up, normal work time, play Borderlands till 11 o'clock at night, go to bed.
Fair.
The Borderlands game are comedy. I have a lot of time for them. The film does not look good. But there was one shining beacon of hope in the trailer for me.
Is it Claptrap?
Jack Blacker's Claptrap is inspired casting. If they manage to get the vibe of D&D Honor Among Thieves, this film can be good. If they get that vibe of
Yeah.
characters bouncing off of each other, their goal isn't to save the universe, they just accidentally end up in a position where they kind of have to.
Yep.
Perfect.
And they lay enough references, but don't go too crazy at being like, hey, look, we're based off a game.
Don't take themselves too seriously, but give us some cool action. It can work. My main concern is the cost is very expensive.
Yeah. And this was also, I swear this was filmed ages ago.
I actually don't know.
It feels like, or at least they started filming it. I think maybe lockdown stuff messed it up. But I swear there was like, I saw things of Kevin Hart like ages ago and he was on set. But I could just like, this could be poor, like, memory of time.
I'm trying to see when it was announced. No, that's far too recent. It was definitely announced before that. Oh, because of the trailer coming out, all the news is just blocked out. I don't think it's been held onto for that long. I think they announced they were working on the project for it a while ago, but I think it just spent a long time in pre-production.
Oh, possibly.
It
looks interesting.
I imagine an opportunity to do okay, but I need it to feel like D&D Honor Among Thieves, just in Borderlands. And if it does that, it'll probably be a decent film. I think that's the genre of film I want from these kinds of projects now, though. Give me 5 characters who are forced upon each other. They are trying to do a very minor thing, and then they accidentally have to deal with something bigger. Like, I'm down.
The only thing I've seen is there's what people reckon in the trailer is a hidden reference to Tiny Tina's game. Because there's a bit when she flips, she's doing like a cartwheel towards like a TNT box. And there's like a board game set up with like trees and stuff, and everyone's like, oh, that's her playing Tiny Tina.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Yeah.
Which is essentially D&D, but with Borderlands guns in it, which is why I hope they kind of hit that vibe.
Fingers crossed. I also like, though, that we now potentially could put together a Jack Black gaming cinematic universe.
Yes. Yeah, that's the only thing keeping me alive.
He's also going to be in the Minecraft film.
Yeah. Only thing keeping me alive right now is Jack Black's gaming universe, to be completely honest.
I love it.
The Acolyte Star Wars show. We were hoping and hollering and whooping and praying that we were going to get a trailer for this at the Super Bowl. And now that we know the release date, I'm really surprised we didn't get one. Because that's like the perfect time frame.
Yes. I wonder if, because it's now all under Disney and they were doing the Deadpool trailer, they focused on the one thing.
But The Acolyte premieres on Disney Plus June 5th.
I would expect us to get some sort of teaser maybe next month.
Yeah, we've got to get something soon. There's no way, with how excitable fans are about this project, they just end up throwing it out there with no marketing. Like,
considering
surely not.
When Bad Batch finishes, maybe something just after to then be like, here's what's coming next. Let's keep you interested.
Maybe.
Who knows?
The Boys.
Yes, season 4.
Season 4 premieres on June 13th. And
what
just like that, we were so worried about this year.
We were a little bit, yeah.
It's just not superhero films every month.
June's going to be stacked.
Yeah. It's going to be absolute chaos. The Boys season 4 and The Acolyte. We've used this word a few times already. It could be peak. But as good as it gets, we've also got some bad news, concerning news.
Yeah. Interesting.
Joker 2 has reportedly operated on a budget of 200 million compared to the first film, which only cost 60 million. This puts the Joker 2 in the same price bracket as Black Panther, Spider-Man No Way Home, Rogue One, and films of that caliber. Here's the problem.
Okay.
Films aren't making as much money as they used to.
No.
And when I say used to, I don't even mean 10 years ago, I mean 2 years ago. The Joker, first one, made just shy of $1 billion. It didn't quite break $1 billion, did it? I can never remember.
I don't know.
Oh no, it did. It broke $1 billion.
Right.
The only R-rated movie ever to break $1 billion, and it did it on a $60 million budget.
I think they've got overconfident.
That's the kind of film that funds a lot of projects.
Yes, this is true.
When Warner Bros. Have had a number of flops in the last few years, and after this, they're not releasing anything with as much banking potential until Superman Legacy. Why are you spending $200 million on a project that realistically might cap out at 600?
Yeah, I mean that's a rough. It might not go well for them here.
Yeah, 600 million on a budget of 200 million versus 60 million is a big difference. I know you can all do math. 140 million can fund, I don't know, a Batman Beyond trilogy.
Warner Bros. Spend your money properly.
Like, I don't understand what we're doing. I get people have spent $200 million on a film. And what we've said, especially in the last 2.5 years, you don't need to spend $200 million on a film. With the market the way it is, it makes no sense. And you can do a lot more with a lot less. Why we do it, especially for an R-rated film, which has limited earning potential. Yes, I get the first Joker film grossed $1 billion. Even if this film is as good, it will not gross $1 billion. Films aren't grossing $1 billion anymore.
No, I think they've got overconfident with the first one, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna make bank because it's the second one," and it's not gonna hit the same.
Like, there is no way on God's green earth this film is going to be good enough to warrant 200 million.
No, it's not.
Especially when they've clearly tried to be so creative with it in what they're doing.
I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. Like, this is still way over, but I wonder if is that also taking into consideration marketing?
No, because they never make marketing public.
Could that include
marketing? As a general rule of thumb, based on what I've seen and read,
never does.
A lot of places will spend however much they spent on the film on marketing.
I hope they don't.
By the sounds of it, now I don't know if that's like for like your more moderate films where the budget is like 60 to 140 million, and then they spend another 60 to 140 million. But that seems to be where we're at. It's bad business. Because even if this film
it's not going to help
$1 billion,
DC.
Yeah, I don't think spending the extra 140 million is going to bring in more than an extra 140 million.
No, and I think considering DC's in this, like you said, this quiet period, I don't feel like this is a smart to have given this much.
If they were to spend even 100 million on this, which is a big upgrade from the 60 million of the first film, and they make 600 million, That's 500 million in profit, which can go on to funding a lot of films. Now they're spending 200 million, and if it only makes 600 million or 500 million, it could do even worse than that. You're struggling.
Yeah, it's just like, had it been something that was going to have loads of CGI and what that, and I would be like, okay, they're actually spending on the VFX and it's going to look good. But like, we know it's not that sort of film.
No.
Yeah, it's a bold play by them, which I don't think is really going to pay off, which is a shame.
Well, I think it's still going to be a good film, but
yeah,
it's one of them ones of if you. I mean, maybe we should do this segment at some point where we get given $1 billion to choose what films we want to make. I guarantee you're not spending $200 million on this film.
I'll spend $1 billion on a Batman Beyond animated.
Animated universe go brrr.
I'll make it like an anime series.
And then in news that's not massively surprising but a little disappointing, Avengers 5 will no longer be titled Kang Dynasty, adding additional fuel to the fire that Marvel are moving away from Kang in light of the firing of Jonathan Majors, which is not what we wanted. Just to be clear, we wanted them to get rid of Jonathan Majors after he was found guilty. We didn't want them to move away from Kang, just recast him. I feel like that is not going to help the whole idea of Marvel doesn't feel as coherent anymore.
I think, depending what happens in Deadpool, will give us the indication of where we're going. I think that and the Fantastic Four film.
Yeah, we'll
know if we're still going towards Kang or not.
Yeah, we're going to need to cook real quick here. Because otherwise it could get quite messy. And I just don't know if they have my inherent trust that they had 3 or 4 years ago. Not because the quality's gone to absolute garbage. I don't think it has. But I feel like the internal panic has shone through at times. And I'm not as confident that they're as confident as they used to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It could be a rough one.
It could, unfortunately.
More unfortunate news. That's all we have time for.
That is the end of the episode.
And on that bombshell, please don't sue me, Jeremy Clarkson.
They've only got one more.
They've only got one more?
Grand Tour. They're only doing one more.
Oh, are they? Oh, let's not start talking about random shows. There's enough crap we talk about on here, Christ. That is it for us this week.
Yes, yes it is.
Please like and subscribe and just press all the buttons down there and see what happens. And then if it seems like a nice button, press that one. We will be live again next week with more Bad Batch. For like other stuff as well. I feel like there's a lot of stuff on the horizon.
I feel like there's something else out next week. Maybe not.
If not, maybe I'll spend some time putting together my proposal for why Spider-Man should never be on the big screen again. Lovingly. But yes, we'll catch you next week for episode 104 with more good stuff. And until then, have a lovely time.
Yes. See you next week.